everyone, welcome to this edition of the India Revival Mission brought to you by Times Network. I'm Nayantara Rai, working from home. As we wind down the year 2020, it's been a fascinating year, hasn't it? At the start of the lockdown, there were so many fears about getting food delivered home. But cloud kitchens has been the way forward for the entire year, and I'm going to be talking to the largest owner of cloud kitchens in the country, Rebel Foods, a unicorn, last valued at $825 million. Rebel Foods Behrouz Biryani, of course, is very famous, and now they've tied up with Wendy's as well, the famous American giant for cloud kitchens in the country. Joining me, the co-founder, Kallon Banerjee. Thank you so much for joining us here on this on ET Now. Kallon must have been a very action-packed year for you. You must have seen a lot more competition also than you're used to.
Absolutely, very action-packed, and it's been a mixed bag in India and elsewhere. So yeah, but very interesting year for sure.
So, like I said in my introduction, you're the largest owner of cloud kitchens in the country. Now, during the coronavirus, what did Rebel do? Have you added more cloud kitchens? Have you expanded? Have you had to maybe rationalize? What happened?
Sure. So a couple of things. I think it's sort of been a Nike swoosh type graph. If you look at how the volumes and the revenues have evolved over this 9-month period, but it's been a mixed bag. So let me try to explain. Firstly, obviously the initial knee jerk was a complete stop of ordering. We dropped to about 30% of our normal volume, and from then on, it has been a gradual recovery with a lot of interesting phenomena. So, for example, the daytime single person meal as a category is finished, because people are not in offices, etc. So that's gone. Second, on the whole, we've seen an increase in the average basket size as well as the bill. So basically, people, when they're ordering, are making orders for more number of people, which also makes sense because people are at home. And thirdly, what we have witnessed is actually paradoxically a healthier economics. Because of
Okay.
I would say the tailwind, there's affected supply as well. So there's lesser discounting going on. People are not exhibiting a lot of discount-seeking behavior. And they're going back to assurances of food safety. So they want to order from places where they feel safe in ordering. So all of this has shaped that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're saying that in a different way, are you basically trying to say that, also it's been a trying time for the restaurateurs, for the F&B industry, and I don't know how it's been for the cloud kitchens because that's been the buzzword also for 2020. Are you basically trying to say that it's reached a situation now where you don't have to do customer acquisitions via steep discounts, cashbacks, freebies? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's not as effective now. So I think most players are staying away from that sort of promotion.
So the next thing I want to ask you is, did you grow during the lockdown? You've given me an overarching view of what the lockdown was for you, what 2020 was for you. But your sales, are they what they used to be pre-corona? Are they higher?
It's basically healthier economics, and on a per kitchen basis, the sales are up. So let me just explain this a bit. As a network, we are at 2/3 of our capacity. So about 100 odd kitchens across the country are still closed. But the 2/3 that is open, the 200 odd kitchens that are open, they are doing better than pre-COVID times. So like I said, the tailwinds are favoring the operations that we are doing, and wherever we are now gradually going back to opening the remaining part of our network as well. But this has been the overall situation for us.
And like I said at the start of this interview, I'm sure you've had to get used to a lot more competition. Every restaurant now is looking at becoming a cloud kitchen. Any restaurant that was maybe even snobbish about delivery has had no choice but to look at delivery, look at cloud kitchen, tie up with players it didn't want to earlier. How was that part for you?
No, see, I think delivery becoming increasingly important is nothing that COVID kind of precipitated. It was always a secular trend, and we were witnessing this across the world. That explains the presence of major food delivery companies in every country in the world. So I think that's not really changed, but. Like you said, the appearance of virtual brands. So people have actually started in the same restaurant where they were doing, let's say, just Chinese earlier. They have now started a Thai under a different brand name. Obviously, borrowing, we would like to think a leaf from our book, but I think those are great attempts and those are valiant attempts. But see, a brand to be taken seriously. That it has to have two things. One is, a scale. So it has to be available across a lot of places. And number two, consistency. So whenever you order food from that particular brand, so that's so that takes time. So, we haven't seen any competition emerge in that sense. We have had individual restaurants maybe starting another co-brand, but obviously they will take their time to settle in and, so, at a locality level, maybe it's a threat, but at an aggregate level, we haven't seen any big competition emerge.
So you've been able to protect your market share. Can I ask you now, Kallon, that what has done phenomenally well during the lockdown? You said it's healthier economics and people are eating healthier, but are they still eating all of your biryani? Is that still the best seller?
Yes, biryani is... revenue-wise, Biryani's Banerjee is our biggest brand. But if you look at number of orders, there'll probably be a tie between Faso's and Oven Story, which is our pizza brand.
Did you sell more pizzas and biryanis in 2020? I know 100 of your kitchens are still shut down. But from each kitchen, you're saying you sold a lot more biryani and pizzas than you did last year.
Correct. So they like I said, Faso's, our other big brand, is essentially individual focused. It's not really, the menu, the options are not tailored for group ordering. I think pizza and biryani, these are naturally sort of tuned to sort of a group eating kind of situation. So yeah, obviously those have been very strong.
Did we see an emerging trend of healthier eating? Did you come out with any dishes which have, all those immunity boosters, be it haldi or whatever?
No, we did wherever we could, pick out products which we thought immunity boosting. So we had collections of that sort. But for us to, we haven't specifically developed immunity boosting products like you're mentioning, simply because it takes with our sort of network, it just requires a lot of advanced planning. For something to hit at a kitchen level, you'll probably need about 2-3 months of build up, and this time we're just trying to cope with. Just keeping the network open and keeping the lights open. So no, we have not really developed specifically anything of that sort. Yeah.
Now, earlier this year, you had also started operations in London. We all know about the lockdown in London, the second wave, the new restrictions that came out. Are you still operating out of London? Are you going to stay in London? What about your overseas aspirations?
Yeah, so London is the most recent of our overseas destinations. So we've started our second kitchen already, and we're just about to start our third. And so, it's still early days for us over there. So I wouldn't really be able to comment on, what kind of effect lockdown is happening, because we ourselves are new there. So, whatever we are witnessing is a slow build up. But as far as trends go, we have seen it's very positive. So month on month, it's been about 3-4 months now since we started. So trend-wise, it's very positive. We are seeing 30-40% growth month on month, at a per kitchen level basis. And we also actually took a stake in an Indian sauces brand called Holy Cow, which is retailed out of Tesco's and the Sainsbury's of the world. That business is doing extremely well. It's very, very strong. So the British, I think, over time have developed a taste for our curries, and we feel we can be a very serious contender, as far as authenticity goes, of cuisine from this part of the world. In terms of other geographies, it's been actually the opposite of India, surprisingly. So if you look at Jakarta, if you look at Dubai, where we have operations, we've actually seen a significant growth in business, both in volumes and, I mean, as you would normally expect, right? That people are ordering more and more. And that's the effect we see. So both these businesses have grown by 60-70% over the last 6-7 months. And I think that the explanation probably lies in the fact that, in India, we've probably not completely let go of our cooking infrastructure, so to speak. I mean, there's still stocked kitchens and whatever in households, which is probably not the case in some of these cities. People just have microwaves in their kitchens.
Yeah.
So that's what we've seen.
Okay, that's quite interesting, that the different trends that you've seen in the various geographies that you're in. But once again, I'm going to ask you, are you reevaluating your overseas plans, whether you wanted to enter more geographies, the current network that you have existing at the moment?
Yeah, this time has put the cloud kitchens as a business in the mainstream. Everybody that you know of in the industry is talking cloud kitchens now. And if you know our model, we basically pioneered this concept of having a single kitchen which operates multiple brands, where we actually do the cooking, as opposed to the normal, more popularly understood construct of a cloud kitchen, which is basically a WeWork of kitchens, if you like. It's just a big kitchen partitioned into smaller ones, and there are 10 brands which operate doing their own thing. So I think this time has led to a lot of interest in our model, the way that we have been doing things, and we are, by far the largest player of our kind in the world. So naturally, there are a lot of offers for collaborations, and as we speak, we are looking at diving deeper into the Middle East. We're looking at going deeper into Southeast Asia. We're talking about Moscow, Russia, of course, and continental Europe. A lot of partnership opportunities have presented themselves, and we're evaluating those.
Okay, so you're going ahead with gusto, but can I also ask you, Kallon, Holy Cow? You brought it up yourself, retail from England's largest supermarket chain, Tesco's. Is that also a way that Rebel Foods wants to go? Like, would you look at that category outside of London as well? Are you open to such partnerships? For sauces, FMCG, bottling, etc., in India and other geographies?
We thought it was a smart way of getting into London uh, because the business was doing very well, and more than the supermarkets business, it was also the company also was holding fort in a lot of food courts. So they had these branded food stalls in office cafeterias, in university cafeterias, in football grounds, and that's how we saw a natural fit, and as a natural, and we loved the holy cow branding and the team as well. We are doing a lot of these things in India as well. So if you know, we are now hosting Naturals ice creams in about they're already in about 70, 80 of our kitchens. Then we are in a partnership with Mad Over Donuts. We are partnering with Anand Sweets. So if something has a demonstrated product market fit, and it sort of fits in the way that we operate, and we feel that we can, it can benefit from scale, we're more than happy to look at it. I mean, so that's how we think about it.
Okay, so before I also go on to the partnership of Wendy's, the big one, I want to ask you one question. F&B is really, really hurting. And, for obvious reasons or not so obvious reasons, whichever way you look at it, there's been very little support from the government as well. We've seen mass scale layoffs. People are still very nervous to go out. And that's why cloud kitchens have, of course, been a winner. At Rebel Foods, did you have to go in for any rationalization of your workforce? Have you restored that, whether it was in the way of layoffs or job cuts?
I mean, we've been fantastically fortunate in that sense. There was a time when the uncertainty was too much, when we were down to, like I said, about 30% of our sales. We actually took a company-wide poll after a town hall that, what it is that we wanted to do. And overwhelmingly, this is quite unbelievable, actually. And not only just India, even people from our geographies outside, they voted for a 30% salary cut. Of course, the senior management has taken a deeper cut and still in effect. But otherwise, I'm saying everybody in the company actually preferred to do that. We didn't take it from everybody. So for a couple of months, from above the store levels, beyond a certain salary bracket, we had a salary cut in place. But then, as we with specific dates of when they will get reinstated as we keep coming back, and so now it's been reinstated for almost 100%. But the spirit that folks displayed was amazing. So we didn't have to do anything unpleasant at all. Thankfully.
You had gone in for a fundraising in the earlier part of 2020. Are you going to go in for another one? Like I said, you're a Sunicorn, last valued at $825 million. You're the world's largest cloud kitchen owner and operator with very clear-cut expansion plans, not just for the home country, but overseas as well.
So, see, we are very well funded for our current needs, and it's always a choice. What you shoot for, what your near-term goals are. So, say for example, if we wanted to be profitable at a cash flow level, even at a cash flow level perspective, we could do that, at our scale. So it's always a decision that you take, how far do you want to go on investing, and what is the headroom that you see? So in our case, we feel that there is this huge headroom. We are at about 1/20th of the size that we can be just in India alone. Apart from that, if you take on, whatever is going on all across the world, I mean, just by virtue of being in this, of our environment and our own compulsions, as you know, we ourselves have started as a QSR brand, and this is something we evolved into simply to try and solve our own existential problems at that point. Because of that, we have this lead, and we feel that this is a moment in history where an industry which is 500, 600 years old is getting disrupted. and we have at least a 3-4 year lead over anyone else in the world in terms of how we have deployed technology. Some of it is visible to the customer, and a lot of it is not. If you look at the way that we run our kitchens, etc. So so we feel this is a time for at least for another 4 or 5 years of staying invested and doing fundraisers as and when required, which is always a conversation about what value and you're creating, and how you're going to how are the funds going to be deployed. So yeah, I mean we will be open to doing fundraisers as well. It could also be a listing. So all those options are open.
So an IPO is on the menu.
Definitely, yes. Nothing is off the menu.
That's a very great way of putting it. Kallon, you've also signed a big agreement with Wendys for India and cloud kitchens, and it's going to be very India specific, India personalized menus. Tell us a bit about that.
The Wendy's deal actually is kind of path breaking, and as you will have noticed, it's catching the attention of everyone in the world because this is a unique way of doing, of addressing a country, especially a country like India, where the incumbents have set up a footprint like Burger King. I think is at about 260 odd outlets after 7 years of operations. McDonald's is about 450 odd. They've been at it longer. And if you think about Wendy's deal, suddenly, this brand will have a delivery footprint across India in 250, 300 location a matter of a year. The existing locations are, the locations are already, it's a matter of how we scale up. So, so this, just this, and of course, at a tenth of the cost, what it would take you to find a place and a restaurant and all of that. So if you look at what really is going on here, so if you think of what a restaurant business really is, it's basically the only consumer business where the brand, the retailer, and the actual production is at the same place. So if you think of a McDonald's store, the golden arches, etc., all of the pretty restaurant is the branding. The food is actually made there, and people come there and consume the food. So the biggest channel of distribution also is the premise at the same place. Now, what is happening with the advent of aggregators, and this has been going on for 3-4 years, is essentially your biggest channel of sales is gradually shifting to delivery, which means that there is no reason now to have such an expensive property because people are just not going there. So none of your branding is happening because of this. People going there, if they're not going there, naturally the branding part also shifts to digital. So this is a gradual disintegration of this industry. So I think Wendy's is if and when we make a success of this, is going to be a case study for any QSR chain across the world. That there could be another way of doing, another much smarter, less expensive way of doing this.
So will you look at more such deals, whether it's for QSR, global brands, etc.? Is that also on the menu?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think this is great validation. So if you think of a global giant like Wendy's, you can imagine the sophistication they have in their processes, the checks they do to make sure that the food is handled safely, and they found our operations, our infrastructure worthy of that. So I think this should be a great signal to any other brand which is looking to enter India. We could be potentially a launch vehicle, to do that. So yeah, definitely we are open. Like I said, if it fits the way that we work, and definitely we can look at taking more on.
Kallon, you said you were well funded, you came up with all kind of products and innovations during the lockdown. Were you not tempted also, and you said you're at 1/20th of your size, of your potential size in India. So you've not been tempted to see all these distressed F&B brands that you could have picked up?
Like I said, the collaborations are definitely on. I mentioned a few to you already. There are others who have also approached, but our limitation is we don't want to get into the offline side of things as of now. So whatever fits this cloud kitchen supply chain and way of working is currently what we are limited to in India. And those we have been exploring. And some of them, so for example, Slay Coffee. So not only just tie-ups, well, we've actually been investors in Slay Coffee as well. So we actually helped. So we are open to these kind of investments. But again, the lens is that it fits our current way of working. We don't want to spread too thin and look at doing, let's say, a dine-in restaurant, a fine dine, or something of that sort, because we don't understand that business.
And with that, Kallon, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this edition of the India Revival Mission. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Here's wishing you all the very best.
Thank you very much.